skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.
Welcome, everybody, to a new See It or Skip It, where we're going to be talking about the start of the summer movie season with Thunderbolts. Marvel's coming out swinging, plus Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick in Another Simple Favor. We've got Nicolas Cage on a surfboard fighting a bunch of people on the beach.
Like you do.
So many things to talk about. And, of course, I am joined by my co-host, Rebecca Frost, and Richard Bonaduce. How's it going, both of you?
Well,
Good.
And for the first time, we've got Kent Dunn joining us. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me. This
So,
is great.
tell people where they can find you first.
Okay, so I have a podcast. It's been going for a decade now. It's called Bake and Sell. We talk pop culture like every other podcast on the planet, but it's really fun. I also have a movie site called ShowtimeShowdown.com, and you can find my weekly reviews there. Rich and I have worked together about 10 years ago, previously on Critical Mass.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a good
What?
time. I was a lot less experienced, so hopefully I've improved.
Oh, no. What happened?
He kicked me off.
Oh, Rich.
Whoa.
yeah, that's what
Reasons
happened.
that maybe we'll get into.
Yeah, that's
So
what
that's
happened.
what you meant by
Sure
can we
is.
come in? Okay. Well, I know what everybody's here for. This is the first topic that we have to talk about. Can 100 men fight a gorilla? I think that's the only reason people have tuned in, right?
Yeah, I mean...
The answer is yes,
are
right?
we
Absolutely.
included
Will
in
they
this
survive
number?
it? No. Well, and critics is just going to lower that number even more.
Absolutely.
If it's 100 critics trying to fight a gorilla, what are we going to do?
If it's critics,
You know?
that a chimpanzee
Exposition
versus
him to
100
death?
critics, a chimpanzee would win.
100 men versus therapy. How about that?
Ooh, that's a good segue into therapy with the Thunderbolts. So this is the new feature of Marvel Studios. It might be a course correct into Avengers Doomsday, and we still have the Fantastic Four coming out. But this is from the creator of Beef. If you watched on Netflix, it's one of my favorite shows. It's starring Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, David Harbour. We've got
Louis
Everyone.
Pullman, Julia
Pullman, Julia
Louis-Dreyfus.
That chick who plays Taskmaster.
Yep.
All the Carolinko.
Wyatt Russell. I was
Kind
going
of
to
a
call him
spoiler,
Russell
but-
Wyatt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rejects of a lot of Marvel properties that maybe didn't get their debut in the way that we quite hoped, or even they got a debut and we were like, well, I
It
don't
kind
know.
of depends if you watch Disney Plus shows, right? A lot of people skip them. A lot of people need to know for the canon. This movie says, hey, we don't know or care if you know these characters. Here they are.
Right.
Right.
And I think for this, the Thunderbolts to me feels like it is somewhat of a course correct for the MCU. It feels like one of the first films that actually is tying in things and kind of paying off moments. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, to me, there's a lot of a sequel to this.
Yeah.
And with Black Widow, with what they were teeing up, and a post-Endgame world, what that looks like for the Marvel universe without going into different multiverses. I think they do a fairly good job of that, but there's a lot to talk about with this. So let's go with Richard first, because I know that you have your thoughts, and everybody's going to
I don't have any
probably probably go against him, but we'll hear.
Well, like Kent mentioned, there's a lot in this that is from lots of different properties, television shows and whatnot. And I do think that even though they don't care, they're going to stick it in, the audience might want to know. You might want to have watched a lot of different movies and television properties to know who these people are and know what's going on.
I do think that they do a pretty good job, especially with John Walker, because not a lot of people watched Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I think they did a pretty good job of establishing who he is within the universe.
Do you think they played the exposition well? Because I think they kept making fun of each other, being, like just targeting all their weaknesses.
Yes, you were
Yeah.
Captain
Multiple
America for a
times.
week.
But
yeah,
that's
kind of
more
stuff.
like the typical Marvel witty banter
Sure.
that goes back and forth. What I like about Thunderbolts is that they tone that down just a little bit, and they try to explore the characters', psyches a lot more. It's a lot more centered on mental health, not who we hit, but why are we hitting?
Yeah.
How do we feel after?
Well, Rebecca, what did you think of this?
I loved it, but I also unabashedly huge Florence Pugh fan, huge Sebastian Stan fan. This felt like a breath of fresh air in the MCU, in my opinion. I think if you're in therapy, you'll love it. Big therapy head over here, so the
Sure.
whole time I was like, yes, fantastic, yes, more.
Yeah, this is MCU presents trauma bonding, I think.
Avengers Depression.
Yeah.
Yes.
Avengers Depression. We felt that for the last 6 years.
But there is some light. I think David Harbour in Red Guardian was definitely the highlight for the whole movie. He's hilarious consistently. I love
Right.
his joy, his just unabashed joy of just being in a team
It's
and being
interesting.
able to hang out.
I think Marvel. One reason I haven't loved a lot of Marvel movies, it feels like the same type of humor. Everyone's hilarious, right? This movie is actually like kind of heavy characters. So, they're all joining together for survival. And I'm like, oh, this is a really intense movie. And then David Harbour approaches, and I'm like, oh, here comes the comedy. But it's not what he says, it's how he presents it.
Very heartfelt.
Right?
See, I hated everything you guys like.
Are you for real?
I'm for real.
What about Louis Pullman? To me, Louis Pullman was a huge breakout for this movie, and I thought his character, Bob, was fantastic.
I think people who like the actual Bob character are going to hate the way he's presented in this movie.
That's very interesting because you're right. There's a
No
lot of things that have
spoilers.
changed with characters.
It's a
but
Born
that's
Yesterday
always
sort
been
of
Marvel.
character.
Yeah.
But Rich, what was it for you?
Well, for David Harbour, for instance, I thought, oh, that's funny. And then he kept doing it. It was the same joke.
Right.
Every time it's the same one-note thing that he's doing. Everyone does have their quips. And then in the last third, we're going to get super heavy.
Yeah.
And go, this is about depression. This is about worthiness. This is
but
about
they were always
mental health
pitching
and
that
this
from
and
the
that.
Do you know what this
But
is telling me?
Not like that.
This is telling me Rich needs a hug.
Oh no.
The world can be saved by just a hug.
You know what I
Can't say,
think
but-
it is? I think it's anticipation. Going in, I heard all this stuff that this is it. This
Right.
is back to Marvel. And I'm like, all right. And when it was just here, I went, huh.
See,
I don't think it's all that great of a...
it's funny you say that because I think this is a case of expectations. Because I
exactly.
think for most people, it's been 6 years since we've seen mostly good movies, right? There's been very scattered good ones since, and so there's low expectations, especially for me. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan.
No.
Right, crazy. Right? And so I'm like, sure, it's a team-up movie of Disney Plus characters, and then I'm watching the movie going, and I always watch like this. You know, I'm like, I don't...
But like the
I'm
majority of them aren't from Disney Plus.
Right.
They came from the movies.
That's true. But then I think, why don't I hate this? Why don't I still hate this? Oh, no, I like it. And so I think because
All right,
I have low
what is
expectations...
happening here?
I don't know.
Well, maybe
It's
there's
strange.
something to do with a team-up movie, like a good superhero team-up movie.
A found family movie. Rich,
Another found family movie. Another team
That's
of...
another good point
I think
because
Rich is
this-
going through it.
Another one. No, I'm sitting there going, let me guess. They're all from different walks of life. They're all going to get together and be
Okay,
a team. by
we've
the
seen those
end.
tropes in movies throughout history, but not for Marvel. And I think that's where the depth comes
We
Guardians?
have Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, and here's the other thing.
Okay.
The
name another one.
The Avengers?
But I don't know that I consider
But
the
that wasn't
Avengers a
anti-
found
that wasn't
family.
anti-heroes.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe you can consider Loki.
There's a god over here, an assassin over
I
there.
view the Avengers as co-workers, not found family.
Well, they
okay.
they eventually become a family.
Well, here's the thing. This is like the 30-something
sure,
installment
sure.
in the MCU.
36th movie. Isn't
There's
that
a
ridiculous?
lot.
Marvel's back for the 12th time.
Right.
Mercy.
There's a lot that people need to catch up on in order
Yeah.
to get this. Do you think people can go in not seeing anything,
Cold.
just wanting to enjoy it, and maybe have a better time in the theaters without
Wait, who
us
is that
putting
person?
on that expectation
Who's the
of
person who hasn't seen
The
any
one with
one
kids.
of the
That person
35
exists.
movies?
I can guarantee that
the
person
families
exists.
with kids that are like, we want to see this Marvel movie because Florence Pugh's awesome.
I guess the bait and switch would be, do you expect an action movie from this, or do you expect a movie that goes a little bit deeper into the psyche?
Well, there's some
I
action.
think you go in expecting an action.
There's some action movie.
And there's plenty of real practical stunts that happen. Florence Pugh's one of the actresses that actually did a stunt falling off a building at the beginning of the movie. We've got a lot of cars exploding, a lot of flipped cars. Part of it was actually filmed in Utah, which that's a little bit of a tease to something that we're going to cut to after this. But I would say in the end, like, this is something that families can still go into and enjoy. It's not at all like what maybe the lower tier Quantum Mania type of Marvel films
Right.
are. It's, if anything, it's a okay
Yeah.
to good film.
Yeah.
Do you know what this movie had that Marvel hasn't had in a long time?
Go on.
Heroes saving civilians. There's that whole scene in Act 3 where they're all kind of teaming
Joss
up.
Whedon's the last one.
They're teaming up, Rich, to save civilians who are in danger. We haven't
There were
seen
CG
that.
boulders.
We haven't seen that in a while. We've mostly seen them fighting nameless, faceless, whoozy whatsy.
To see them,
They're in space and they're kicking at stuff.
yeah, and to see them defeating a villain like that. A villain we introduced in this movie.
it wasn't just
who
like
was
that
taken
because they had
care
to
of-
figure out how to defeat
No,
him.
it's done in
We can't go into
15
spoilers
minutes.
too much, but you're right.
Like every Marvel movie,
everything
Rich.
Is, no,
But
not like every Marvel
But given
movie.
the fact that these are essentially normal vigilantes with some powers, right?
Yeah,
These
yeah.
aren't gods.
Yeah, barely
Yeah.
There
any
needed
powers.
to be that reason, and I know there's a Deus Ex Machina about it, but it kind of needed to happen. It's cliche, but accepted.
I have to look that up. What was
Well,
that?
and in a lot of ways, like the team up origin story has become its own superhero origin
Sure.
story.
Sure. Yeah.
Like we've seen so many with Spider-Man and Batman and things like that, but this has become maybe it's the first time that you're starting to see the strings behind it, where it's like this follows a formula every time, and it doesn't really veer too far from the other ones. Sometimes the formula still works though.
Yeah, if it
Do you
ain't
like how we're
broke.
trying to convince you?
Yeah, well, I would still see it. I'm just not a see it. I'm like a, it's fine.
Rich, what was the last Marvel movie you were like, yes?
Well, that's like totally on board
Mm-hmm.
for. Gosh, I'm not even sure. I
Can
have
you
to go back
include
through them.
Sony? Because Craven, obviously.
Craven, obviously.
Yeah, that was over the top
The
for me.
last half of No Way Home, Spider-Man.
Yeah, good point. But I will say this: they, like Marvel does, they have 2 credit sequences, a mid and an end, and they're worth sticking around for. Some of them aren't. You'll stick around at the end of a movie and
Don't
go,
look at
Brave
the
New
credits.
Worlds.
I'm a very big proponent of watching the credits because I feel like these people worked hard and they deserve to have their name
Sure.
seen. This movie, don't look at the credits. Oh my gosh, please do not look at the credits because it spoils the end credits scene.
oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So they're just gonna have to close their eyes.
Just
for
close
about
your eyes.
9
but
minutes.
it's good stuff. So
It's
if you're gonna
great
go
stuff.
see it, stick around for all of it.
So it's a tempted see it
It's
for
a-
you.
yeah.
Kent, this is a see it for
It's
you.
a see it, strangely. I think this goes back to the I know,
know,
right?
right?
The simplicity of Phase 2, if that makes sense to anyone
Yeah.
else. It doesn't, I mean, even though these are a lot of characters from a lot of other homework, it's a simple story that could have just been a 90s action movie, right? And so it fits for me.
I think it
So-
evokes that 90s action, absolutely. I do think this is one that has a lot of strong character work, and I do think Bill Pullman and
Louis
Flo-
Pullman.
No, I'm going to say Bill Pullman because he looks just like him.
Right?
Jack Quaid is Dennis Quaid too.
Absolutely.
Not really,
No.
but Florence Pugh's great. I think it finally moves forward in something that I've been hoping Marvel would do, is like start to tell us where we're going. Don't just keep saying you want to see where it's going to go and then it cuts to black.
Yeah.
Actually, give us a little meat for the next thing.
Rich is
And-
biting his tongue so hard.
Yeah, unlike character development. Yeah, we really get in on Ghost. Boy,
Wow,
we
okay.
find out a ton
No, they're
about it.
absolutely flaws.
The
Absolutely.
ones that are the leads.
But if you've accepted the
that
MCU
too.
so far and you've missed the golden times, I think you're going to be happy about it.
And you would have liked it less if it was mainly ghost-centric, and you know it. Rebecca, would it be a see it or skip it for you?
See it and hug your friends.
I tried.
If you need, reach out to them. Take them to Thunderbolts and then ask, are you doing okay? Are you a Thunderbolt in life? Oh, well. Well, let us know what you think. I'm sure everybody's going to be watching this. Maybe it won't be as divided, but I'm very curious. There might be a ton of Richard heads out there.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, Bob.
Oh, man.
This
Well,
is happening.
Everyone should just push their feelings down
Just
and
push
never.
it down.
Generally.
Richard, will you do me a favor and tell me about this next movie?
Another simple favor for you?
Yep.
Well, yes, we're
I'm going
back.
to die if he raves about this.
So you've seen it. Oh, that's good. I'm not sure we all have seen
Yeah, oh,
it.
absolutely.
So we'll start with saying that
us
this
about
is a
this.
sequel to A Simple Favor, which Blake Lively, Anna Kendrick, but a lot of people didn't like it because of the ending, if you'll agree. I don't know. A lot
Yeah.
of people went, the ending, they just spoiled it with, kind of went too much. I think if you liked the ending of that, you'll love this movie because they kind
Sure.
of start with that tone
Okay.
that everybody went, what? And they give you 2 hours of it.
Yeah, 2 whole hours.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed A Simple Favor, the first one, because I read the book that it was adapted from.
There we go.
Pretty faithful adaptation, and I remember really enjoying the book, really enjoying the movie. Didn't think we needed a sequel, but I'm starting to have a lot of respect for filmmakers who make movies where they want to go on vacation.
The Adam Sandler clause.
The Adam Sandler, The White Lotus, like
Absolutely.
I'm starting to have respect
Yeah.
for these guys.
Yeah. Very
Blake-
pretty actors
very
with nice
pretty-
outfits in a gorgeous environment.
That's the thing, Blake Lively. Sometimes I have to ask, what is she wearing? But every single time I am like, I do love it. I love it
yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
The chemistry between Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick is phenomenal. But other than that, what are we
Well,
watching?
it's a whodunit, right? Like this is kind of a murder mystery
I mean,
type of genre.
Sure.
I guess. So
Is
like,
the whodunit potent? Like, do you see it right off the bat?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
well,
Pretty
it
predictable?
is more of a when done it too, because the entire time Anna Kendrick is extremely suspicious of Blake Lively, outside the movie, but
I think I'm saying.
but
these days.
most of the movie is spent with you watching and going, okay, what's going to happen? When will Blake Lively kill again?
Yeah.
And then eventually the ball does get rolling, but a lot of the tension is built up knowing, oh, she is capable of murder. When is she going to do it again?
Do you see a third movie coming from this, or is this kind of a we had to do this
better
because
not.
the first movie
Open.
was
I hate to say it,
successful?
easily. Now that it's on
Amazon's
Amazon,
Knives Out?
I think because there was a 7-year gap and Paul Feig had nothing else to do, he now made this movie because Amazon paid him money. I think it's very easy to get for these streamers to give money to a haphazard movie.
And the
Right.
ending does, unfortunately, open it up to
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
Yep.
I-
It's not quite bait, but it's there.
But the door is open.
I'm not saying the story doesn't deserve it, obviously.
No.
But maybe the controversy behind Blake Lively in real life will get people to watch this movie, which honestly is a Lifetime Channel original movie, right? There's nothing special about this story other than the fact that there are stars in it.
Right.
And everywhere that camera points is beautiful. Like
Yeah.
it's beautiful to watch.
The way I have described this movie is it is a book you pick up at the airport when your phone dies.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could just pick up a book at the airport.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well,
And so books are these
too busy.
pages.
you
in them.
gotta buy it. But,
Too
yeah.
busy frantically running around trying to find the gate, and then going to Burger King
Go
right
to
after.
Cinnabon, I know.
But
So
I think
overall,
it-
you liked it though, right?
No. What I'm going to say is this is kind of a see it,
See,
skip
it's
it.
good.
It's a sorta. If you liked the ending of the first one, you'll like this movie because it's just more of it. But if the ending is the thing that put you off, you'll hate this movie because it just takes that attitude and that absurdity and runs with it.
The humor, right up my alley. Like, it is definitely a
Nasty.
type of humor
You have
that,
nasty humor, young lady.
like, because Paul Feig's humor is right up my alley, and I really enjoy his movies in particular. And the chemistry, like I said, between Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick is pretty electric. Do I want to tune into Amazon Prime for another 2 hours of that? I don't know.
So it might be something because there's a genre for it in the background.
Yes.
Maybe this is in the
Right.
in the background while I'm doing my cleaning and my chores and stuff.
Yeah.
I did, when we were leaving the movie, I told the studio rep, this felt like a Prime movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, that
Yeah.
sounds good.
This is a watch
exactly what we
this
wanted.
movie.
I have this on while I'm folding laundry.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It's only in theaters now, right? It'll
No,
probably
it's
eventually
on
be.
Amazon
It's
Prime.
currently on
Amazon
Amazon
Prime.
Prime.
Okay. So
Yeah.
multiple ways to go and see this. Make sure that you're checking it out. It's Skip It for you, right?
Oh, it's a skip it. This is
Yeah, I figured.
this is the uncanny valley of crime thrillers, essentially. Nothing felt real. Anna Kendrick, she tries really hard, but her awkwardness just doesn't really feel like there's any threat at all.
Okay.
And Blake Lively plays herself pretty decently.
Okay. Well, make
She
sure
is
that you
good at
check
that,
that out.
Yeah, right.
when
Really
it's-
good. Yeah.
Make sure you check that out. This week we've had a lot of different weather phenomena. It's almost like 4 seasons.
Oh,
What a segue.
I'll lead it.
We
With that
actually
being
had
said,
an earthquake in Heber recently.
Yeah, we had earthquakes. We're having cold, we're having warm. Kent, tell us about the weather.
Okay, you guys didn't see 4 Seasons, right?
Only the movie.
Okay,
I
so
drove by a hotel earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Thank you. So there's a 1981 movie called 4 Seasons, and this one is directed and written by and starring Ellen Alda. And so for some reason, I guess Tina Fey and her production company decided to make a Netflix series based on that movie. Now, we talked about this earlier in the show, but when you need an excuse to go on vacation, you do it. And that's what this entire TV series is about. It's 8 episodes, 30 minutes each, so it's a breeze to watch. And when you have a cast like Tina Fey, Will Forte.
Breeze. Yeah, breeze.
Oh, there we go. I'm going to keep doing that.
I know you
actually.
are.
Gets a bit stormy. Okay.
Yep, yep.
But
I don't know that I can weather
Don't
these
use that.
puns.
But yeah, so Tina Fey, Will Forte, they
So
play
hot.
husband and wife, and then you have Steve Carell, Carrie Kinney, Coleman Domingo. Like, the cast
him.
is stacked. And you're like, I'm just going to watch it for the cast. And truly, I think that's the only reason to watch it, because this is a slice of life show. I think of this, I was watching the whole time going, I never laughed once, but I did this. It's a too smirk-worthy show, where you're like,
Too smirk-worthy.
okay.
It's like the
Okay.
beginning of Thunderbolts.
I like that new rating system, smirk-worthy.
It's the genre I would call boomer humor.
Ay, ay, ay.
Okay. Man, you got all the catchphrases.
Yeah, trademark right there.
Yeah.
This is something where you go, yeah, like you guys play well together, but there may or may not be a script here, but it's a series of vignettes where you're like, oh, that's kind of awkward, or I can see why this would be a midlife crisis for this couple. And essentially the plot does follow 4 seasons, as they say, but there's a vacation that these friends that have been friends for decades go on every season for a year. And I will say, like, by the end, I'm like, I like these characters, but Netflix will cancel this at the end of this season. It will stay as a miniseries. And there's one scene that actually made me go, oh, and I was like, oh, I don't know. If I
2
really
smirks
care.
and a gasp.
Yeah, 2 smirks and a gasp. So that's what I'd give this show. It's fine.
Will the people who love Tina Fey and Steve Carell have fun with this?
It's not the Tina Fey that we know and love. There's none of the quirk. It's more of the just smile-worthy sort of comedy.
Do they go to the same place every?
No, different place
different
every time.
place.
Because why wouldn't you, right?
On vacation.
That's what I'm thinking. So by the winter, they went, let's go to Vail. And they just like decided
Yeah,
to
where do they go for winter?
Yeah, I think it is Vail.
It is. Of course it is. Of course
I'm going to try to
it
remember,
is.
but yeah, Steve Carell he's acting circles around everyone else because everyone else is having a good time. And he's playing a guy that is maybe thinking about leaving his wife or dating a younger woman. And you're like, okay, there's a story here, and it's nice to see a story in a show like this. But I would say skip it unless you love the cast or you just have nothing in your backlog to watch. But it's kind of a desperation, see it, perhaps.
So this is one that you're probably going to get bored with if you end up watching it. All right.
And truly, if you want to try it out, you could watch one episode, see the group dynamic, and go, I like it, okay. Like, for example, Coleman Domingo, who is an amazing actor, is in the show as a friend that gets screen time but not a story. And you're like, you're better
bummer.
than this. But I still like seeing you in the show.
Okay.
So
well, very interesting. So this is going to be, if you want to see some stars, maybe get a little bit of a smirk or two, but otherwise just skip it.
And a gasp.
Two smirks and a gasp. Yeah.
You might need to surf somewhere else.
Patrick.
I am just on it today. Yes, I got another one.
You're on it. On the
So many people
surfboard.
click off every time I do that. But let's talk about the surfer. Nicolas Cage is back.
Yeah, and this is the type of role that only Nicolas Cage could play. The surfer, Nicolas Cage, plays a father who is taking his son to the beach of his childhood to go surfing. Nicolas Cage, who says, I grew up here, nary once the hint of an Australian accent. And the locals basically humiliate him and embarrass him in front of his son. And what happens from there is Nicolas Cage descent into madness. That's my favorite type of Nicolas
Standard
Cage.
Cage, yeah.
Pretty standard
thriller,
Cage.
add a little bit of Andrew Tateism.
Yeah, there's some toxic masculinity featured with
Is it a revenge type movie? Like he needs to get even with them for making fun of him, or is it just
It's almost a get out of the parking lot kind of movie where he is trapped in one location
could have left
for the
it
entire
anytime.
film, and he just has not left. And there, so many times in the movie, I'm like,
so
just
confused.
walk away, just get a payphone.
It's like a
call
bottle
taxi
episode
or
in a
anything.
parking lot, essentially.
Yes,
It's
pretty
a
much.
we know our budget type of thing. We're not leaving this area because
Well, I
we
want
can't
to see
leave.
it now.
We spent all our money on Nicolas Cage.
But
We're
here's the
shooting
thing:
in a parking
don't
lot.
count out Nicolas Cage in an independent film where there's not a lot of resources.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's always fantastic, and he really shines in this type of movie.
Okay. I think it's really fun. There's a lot of trippy elements, and I think people that don't like the more trippy side of things aren't going to connect to this too well. It's for Nick Cage fans.
Yeah, in researching like the making of this movie, I learned the phrase Ozploitation film, which is Australian exploitation, like Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
The early Australian,
Jack.
when they started being able to have rated R movies, right? That very much leans in that type of direction.
Okay.
So
Bluey.
it is weird. It is trippy. It is like
Rated
just
R.
pretty visually psychedelic, and so it's very cool to look at. But the content is you kind of have to be on board.
That's what I was going to ask. Content-wise, is it closer to Mandy? If people have seen Mandy,
No.
Well, I would say it is like if you
Not in
like.
quality.
is it
Like, if you
violent,
liked Mandy?
bloody?
Only towards
yeah.
the end. Like
Okay.
it's a lot of stuff that's like built up tension. Like it's a lot of guitar string winding until it snaps.
Point. I love that we're asking you both questions, and you're both like, what?
Well, and that's the thing with Nick Cage, though. Like, you never really know, even after you've seen the movie, if this was a great performance or not. It was a performance. He gave it his all. That's always what you will say.
That's what he does, yeah.
Yeah, I will never ever dislike a Nicolas Cage performance because I think he's fantastic. And I disliked Longlegs, loved him in that movie though.
Yeah.
So like if you liked Mandy, I think you'll enjoy The Surfer. It's a lot more toned down than Mandy, but
It's
if you like
slower.
that, if you like that type of movie,
It sounds like it's not a mixed audience sort of movie. Like you have to pick people that can watch these cult type movies.
yeah. So like I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Because it is my type of movie.
Sure.
Your mileage may vary because it's definitely not for everybody.
That's what I would probably say. It's likely a skip it for most people, but
If you're a weirdo
if
like
you match
me-
my freak,
Yeah.
then you're gonna love this Nick Cage movie. Oh man. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And thank you everybody for joining. There's 4 people. I thought it'd be super chaotic, but
Yeah,
it's
we're
been
sorry.
really great.
Thank you.
We
So-
appreciate
I think
all
it
of you
works.
coming on. Can't tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, once again, I mean, there is social media, and I'm sure we'll post a link, but the Bacon Cell Podcast, you can find on iTunes or Apple Podcasts and Spotify or ShowtimeShowdown.com.
Very cool. Richard?
I'm on Rock 106.7 on Friday mornings, and of course, you can find me here with you sometimes.
Yep. Rebecca?
Twitter and Instagram @YouGrossRebecca, and every week on Geek Show Podcast.
And today you were just on Friday Flicks on Good Things
I
Utah.
was, sometimes on
I think
Good
the
Things
article's
Utah.
probably out right now, so people can check that out too. And of course, you can go to abc4.com, click the shows tab, and see it or skip it to check out more interviews and reviews. Next week, what are we talking about next week?
Fight or flight.
Fight or Flight? I have no idea what this is. I haven't even seen a trailer for it.
The return of Josh Hartnett.
Josh
right?
Hartnett. Oh, he never left.
Josh Hartnett.
He never
okay.
left.
He never
we'll
left.
talk about it.
The Josh Hartnett-a-thon.
It's Bullet Train on a plane.
Oh, man. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and end this with a really cool segment that came out during the Oscars that Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy was able to do. Went to the set of the Thunderbolts and got to talk to some of the people that were working on it, and we will close it out by taking a look at that.
Thunderbolts, we had about 200 crew total. Of that, I think we had about 20 to 25 or so that were Utah. The rest were a lot of the Marvel crew themselves coming in, mostly from Atlanta and LA. Inside our production office, we probably had a good 5 or 6 people for production, another 4 or 5 people for accounting, you know, those kinds of things.
A thrilling action sequence. You can peep it in the 3-minute trailer for Thunderbolts. And a nail-biting car chase. Yes, that's a limo and armored vehicles upended and flipped, all for the sake of satisfactory cinema. Both scenes shot right here in the Beehive State.
The nice thing about larger films is definitely more manpower. When there's more budget, there's more manpower that you can truly trust departments to handle issues.
Helping hands. Utahns know it's what we do best. Jennifer Davis was the local production coordinator for the movie Thunderbolts. She tells us the executive producer from the film says they could have filmed anywhere. But Utah's unique and impressive geography charmed production and was something the Marvel minds had never seen before, saying the Utah locations we scouted felt untouched by larger world, which made us very excited to shoot there. Oh goodness, do we get it. So not only are we thankful Utah shines on the silver screen, we're thrilled some locals were part of and witnessed some of that movie magic.
They very much know they know their job, they know it really well. There's a lot of systems they already have in place that it just was so streamlined. They know their process, they know the cast, they know their needs, and just being able to watch that flow and watch how they handle all those little tiny details and make it all come together was really cool to be a part of, and just to watch and be a part of that.
See it or skip it. 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 See it or skip it.